What is up, guys? DocRedstone here with another Minecraft video for you guys, and here today I am actually at the working draft server, but I'm at my old base here, and we recently upgraded to 1.4.6 using the Direwolf 20 pack, and so that's really exciting. That's why I haven't put out any episodes on this server at all, just because I've been waiting for the 1.4.6 Direwolf pack so I could get red power and Thermcraft and other countless things. So anyway, this is my old base, and I will be using this base still, but lots of the stuff in here is actually broken. If you come here, these are actually a bunch of magma crucibles hooked up to some of these magmatic engines and stuff like that, trying to produce lava, and this worked really well in 1.4.2, but it's been nerfed in 1.4 or 1.4.6, so I've kind of given up on that design. Over here we actually got rid of Greg Tech, and so my induction furnace setup that was giving me gold is gone, which is okay. Rotary macerator's gone. Basically all I have left here is just my normal macerator and my induction furnace. So, and I have this ender chest which I will be moving, and then I have some of the module force field stuff that I'll be taking with me as well eventually. So anyway, this is the old base that I was at, and there's my nuclear reactor as well. So anyway, this is not entirely going away, but it's going to just stay here. This is my spawn base, and anyway, we are going to get rid of basically this one, and I'm going to go ahead and move. So let's go ahead and move. It's very simple. We'll just use this book. Let's move on. This is my own world here using Mistcraft. So anyway, this is the new base, and many of you will probably know this setup. This is the Direwolf 20 style setup with 9x9s. I found it very efficient. That a 9x9 actually fits perfectly, and it looks kind of cool. So I kind of stole his setup there. Anyway, using the Direwolf 20 pack, and here, whoa, oh, I turned them off. Anyway, we got some steam engines here, which I will flip back on. And if you guys don't know what this is actually red alloy wire, which is really cool stuff. It can go upside down, it can go on the walls, and then it can just go normal, like a normal redstone wire. Anyway, and this is just some basic setup. This is the thermal expansion. I've decided to stay away from the red or the industrial craft style stuff. I've done lots of that. Here's my Thermcraft room. My Thermcraft room with some project tables for some stuff, and then we got a little storage area in here, and right now it's nothing crazy. We have a filter here which basically just pulls items out of adjacent inventories, a timer set to 1 second, and an ender chest. So basically anything that's in this ender chest will get pulled out, shoved through these pneumatic tubes, and put in the corresponding spot. And if there's any overflow, it will go ahead and place it up in this chest. And I plan to add some more of these barrels, but for right now this will work. And these are pneumatic tubes behind here. Now I normally would use the industrial craft pipes, just because they're a lot cheaper. You can see just for a cobblestone pipe to transport is just, that's stone, but for cobblestone it's 2 pieces of cobblestone and a piece of glass, which is extremely cheap compared to this, which requires brass, which is a mixture of copper and tin. However, basically if I have one of these pipes, and I don't think I have any around here, here we go, stone, for demonstration purposes. So we'll just do something like this, and we'll have it add as a plus sign. So basically if an item comes through this side, since these are just the low tier pipes, it actually has a 33% chance to go that way, 33% chance to go that way, and 33% chance to go this way. So even if this side was connected to, say, the iron barrel, and it was going through it, it would only have a 33% chance to go into its corresponding barrel. There's also a 33% chance it will go left, and a 33% chance it could go up. And so it's extremely inaccurate. Items could keep flowing, and items could almost always get in this chest. Pneumatic tubes, however, are a bit smarter, and the pneumatic tubes will just see that there's an empty spot, or the item can go in there, and it's 100% guaranteed that the item will go in there. So that is the reason why I decided to go with the red power pneumatic tubes. Over here we have a battery box connected to some solar panels. We'll talk about that later. We may do some thumbcraft today as well. I got our research table set up with some paper, our cauldron, and our crafting table for thumbcraft. And inside my canvas bag right here, I got my Thumbonomicon, scribing tools, stuff like that, my wand of the apprentice, and then some just miscellaneous red power tools and whatnot, sonic screwdriver, etc. So now obviously the first thing you want to get going when you start or move to a new place is you want to have a source of power. It's always nice to have. Right now I have these hobbyist steam engines, which are really nice. They do run on coal, so it's a bit expensive, especially since coal is useful in red power too. But we won't get into that yet. But yeah, we have these hobbyist steam engines that produce power, and it goes into our various machines. Now the problem is, as it stands right now, these are actually producing power and they're wasting it. Now obviously some was going in the magma crucible, but most of these machines are full, and so it's actually entirely pointless to have those running. So what I'm going to do is make a redstone, let's see, what is it called? The Redstone Energy Conduit. And they're a bit expensive because they require these energy cell frames, which if we go to, you'll see, let's see here, they require electrum, which is a gold and silver blend, hardened glass, which requires pulverized obsidian and lead, and it's not this quick. It actually takes about 10 seconds to make 2, and then a diamond. So it's not the cheapest thing, but it does provide a pretty steady source of power. And basically you get one of these that are empty like this, and you have to put redstone in a magma crucible. Actually, let me get a piece of redstone here, and you guys can see, and if we put this redstone inside a magma crucible, you can see it'll come here, and I have the output directly hooked up to the liquid transposer, and so as soon as it comes out of here, it goes directly into the liquid transposer and fills up there, and you put an empty one of these in the top slot, excuse me, and it pulls it down here, and now it's a full one. And so once we have that, we can go ahead and with minium stones, which is part of the equivalent exchange, you can go ahead and use it as a crafting table by hitting, I believe the default key is C, and you can place this in here with that, this, and like that, and you can see we have a redstone energy cell, and this can hold up to I believe it's like 10,000 megajoules. I'm not 100% sure on the number. Let's see if we place it right here next to these redstone conduits, which are basically like industrial craft conductive pipes, but actually they're better. We can go ahead and hook that there, and you can see that it can hold 600,000 megajoules, excuse me, and so it can output and input megajoules. And so basically we want, so it can input and output, excuse me. So now you can see the majority of these are full, with the exception of the magma crucible here. And so instead of wasting power now, if we were to actually leave these on and let them go, yep, they're pretty heated up still. You can see that this is actually slowly charging. It's at 114, and so that way, now as soon as this is fully charged as well, you'll see also when these speed up a bit, when they start producing more megajoules per tick, this will start to fill up quicker. And so actually once this is filled up, I won't have to worry about these engines constantly running, because this will store the power and will only pull it as needed. So it's a really compact, simple way of doing that. So anyway, that's that. Now also, what I'm going to come over here and do is we have the sonic screwdriver right here, which is part of red power. And oops. Forget about that. And the importance of the sonic screwdriver is it allows you to rotate things such as this crafting, or I think you can rotate these. I don't know, you can rotate the various machines. For instance, you'd rotate one of these deployers, and we can talk about the deployers and the block breakers later. But for instance, this deployer, and if this was actually charged and I were to right click on it, it would actually rotate it. For instance, I actually think I have a normal screwdriver here. This one can break, however, but you can see it rotates and it actually takes damage. But when this one is entirely damaged, it will break. So it's not as good. So what we're going to go ahead, I need to stop doing that, and do is we want to charge the screwdriver. Now these are battery boxes, very similar to MFEs or MFFUs in industrial craft, and normally you would just place it in there and it would charge it. And as you can see, it doesn't charge it despite the fact that the battery box is full. This battery box is connected to some solar panels on the roof. So basically what we're going to need is we're going to need a battery, and you're going to need some nickelite, some copper, and some tin, all very basic components. Nickelite, much like redstone, best appears at deeper levels, and it's extremely common. When we switched over the map, it probably took me about half an hour to get close to 5 stacks of it by hand mining. So it's pretty common and requires anything diamond or higher to get. And so we'll go ahead and we'll click on that, and we have a battery. Now this battery is empty, and so it's going to need charged. So if we toss it in there, you can see that the battery box starts draining. And so it drains from over here as well. But now we have a BT battery. Now this top slot is charging, and if we wanted to give this power back, you can actually put it in the bottom slot and it will give the power back to the solar panel. So it's pretty cool that way. But we're going to want the power inside the battery, and so once the power is in here, we can put it in our hotbar. Now as you can see, this battery is entirely full, and the sonic screwdriver is empty. If we hold right click while holding this battery, you can see that the sonic screwdriver has actually increased and now has a metadata value of 250. Keep holding it, you can see that the metadata value increased to 251, and keep holding it continuously and you can see it actually now has a metadata value of 1, meaning it's fully charged, and our battery is actually charged as well. And now if we go ahead and right click on these items from red power, you can see it rotate it in one of the 6 phase states. Alright, so now I'm going to go over some pretty basic components, and you guys will know why here in a bit, but I'm actually going to work on a red power project. Probably not this episode. This episode will be mainly talking about things, but eventually I will do some cool projects, but this is kind of an introduction to some of the different stuff. So here we have 2 items in my hotbar inventory. We have a deployer and we have a block breaker. And as you can see, we'll place down the deployer right here and the block breaker right here. And both of these items are pretty cool. If I place buttons on the sides of them, this is the block breaker. Once again, this is the deployer, and a deployer has an inventory. So we're going to place some cobble in there. And if we press this button, you can see that it actually placed the piece of cobble. And a deployer acts much like right-clicking, and so it will place a block if you have some farmland in there or some seeds in there and a piece of farmland. It'll actually plant the seeds. If there's bone meal in there, it'll grow the seeds, so on and so forth. And it does that whenever it receives a redstone signal. Now as you can see, there's a piece of cobblestone in here, but since there's already something here, it's unable to do its job. Now here is a block breaker and does exactly what its name implies. If I press this button, you can see it breaks the block in front of it. And now I can deploy another one and I can break it. And it will launch it out its back side. Now over here I have some pneumatic tubes, which like I said are Red Power's version of the pipes. And we can go ahead and hook these wires up. Oops, need one more here. And we can go ahead and hook these right here like so. And so now if we go ahead and place the block, actually I believe it needs some blocks, go ahead and place the block, you can see it gets placed. If we hit the block breaker, you can see it breaks the block, puts it in the pneumatic tubes, puts it back around in a circle, and now this deployer has 2 cobblestone in it. Once again, you can place it, break it, And now there's one piece, place it, break it, and now you can see that both pieces of cobblestone will eventually come back in here. So this is actually hooked up to a timer with a redstone current. Any sort of redstone current will activate this. So it's a pretty cool thing, and I'm actually going to be using this function as well later on down the line. Alright, so now that we got those basic features out of the way, we can go ahead and talk about a few other things. Now, most of you, I'm sure, are familiar with the Red Power 2 project tables. However, they are slightly different now in the 1.6 version, whereas they have these blank plans, which are pretty simply craftable using a piece of indigo dye and a piece of paper. Indigo dye is found from indigo flowers, which are pretty common around the world, and if they are not found, just plant some or place some bone meal on some grass, and almost every 1 in 4 bone meal will give you some indigo flowers. Now these plans are pretty cool, because, for instance, say I wanted to make some canvas. Canvas is used for these canvas bags, such as I have on my inventory right here. And with canvas bags, you right-click them, and they actually are an extended inventory. However, with these canvas bags, you're going to need string and you're going to need some sticks, and it'll give you a piece of canvas. Now, obviously, that's pretty simple, and more complex recipes such as a piston would be much more useful. Now if I take this blank plan and place it in here, you can see nothing has happened yet, but upon pressing this button, you can see this is now a canvas plan, and a canvas plan knows that it's going to need 8 string and a stick. So I can actually remove these items out of the crafting GUI, and you'll see that there's still these little highlighted overlay of the canvas, what the materials you need for the canvas. And so now if I actually remove it, you can see it's gone to blank. And if I place it here, once again, it's very simple. Now I also have this plan right here, which is a support frame plan, and you can see it uses brass and sticks and makes a support frame. And so I can actually just keep clicking, and it will remove the items from this inventory right here, and just keep giving me support frames. So it's pretty cool. So, and then we can go ahead and actually, if we didn't have string, because it actually only pulls from its own inventory, and we put this canvas plan back in here, you'll see the string is red, and that just means that it doesn't have string. As soon as we place some string back in the inventory, you'll see I have the ability to make some more canvas. So it's pretty cool. Now those are support frames, and I'm going to take those because we're going to use those in a little bit. Now what we're going to need to do is we are going to need a frame motor. And frame motors are pretty cool. I should talk about more what frames are, but this is a support frame. So I can imagine you guys know somewhat what's coming. So you're going to need some blue alloy wire, some brass, and some iron, and then you're going to need one of these blue electric motors. And the blue electric motors are going to require some blue alloy wire. Oops, wrong one. Oops, I hit uses, not recipes. Excuse me. And for this, you're going to need some silver and nickelite to make the blue alloy ingot. And to make the motor, you're going to need these copper coils, some blue alloy ingots, and some iron. And a copper coil is going to require some fine copper wire, some iron bars, and some iron. Now this fine copper wire is going to require a diamond draw plate, which is some iron panel strips around a diamond panel, and some copper, and it'll give you this, and then you can get some of these fine copper, which will then give you the copper coil, which then you can add to the blue electric motor. And the blue alloy, like I said before, is a recipe that requires silver and nickelite inside a alloy furnace. And over here we have an alloy furnace, and we have silicone wafers in here, which is 8 sand, 8 coal, and it will produce let's see here. There we go. It will go ahead and produce this silicone boule, and if you use your diamond handsaw on it, you'll get a silicone wafer. And these silicone wafers can be combined with nickelite, like so, and you'll see it start smelting. And once that smelting has been done, you will actually get some of these blue doped wafers. So it's pretty cool. So what we're going to go ahead and do is we're going to take one of these frame motors like so, and we'll just use one for now. So if we come over here, and actually I'm going ahead and clean some of this area up, and I'll be right back. Okay, so I got this area cleaned up over here, and if you're wondering why it needed to be cleaned up, I'm actually going to need the use of this battery box. And we're going to go ahead, and next to this battery box right here, we are going to want to place our frame motor. And as you can see, it is facing downward, which means it's going to push the frames downward. Now we don't want that, so we'll go ahead and we'll use our cyanotic screwdriver, and you can see it starts rotating it, and that's not quite right. We want to place it this way, and then we'll rotate it towards the front, like so. Then we're going to need some blue electric wire, which I believe I had some sitting around here somewhere. Okay, I don't. So we'll go ahead and make some. And for this blue electric wire, which is now called, I guess, blue alloy wire, you're going to need some wool surrounded some blue alloy ingots. So we have some blue alloy ingots right here, and we'll just put 3 of them in there. And I think I have some wool in my bag. I do not. Alright. So we got our wool here. And so now you can see we have 12 of this blue wire, and we can go ahead and run it from the battery box to the frame motor. And as you can see down here, it may not be initially visible, but this blue lights right here, they're showing that it's powered. And if I go ahead and break it, we'll go ahead and use it, and I'll make sure to point it out. Basically, frames are an extremely impressive addition to Red Power 2 added by LRM. And basically, whatever you say you put a frame on top of here, and you press this button, you can see the frame has now moved from here to here. Now frames can also continuously move. So as you can see, now it's moved these 2 frames. And I press it again, and it keeps moving it, and it keeps moving it, and it keeps moving it. And this can happen up to 100 blocks away, so frames are extremely impressive in that aspect. Now frames are also nice because not only can they move attaching frames, but they can move anything attached to those frames. And so if I come over here and grab some cobble here, and come back over here, you can see I'll hook this to the side here, and hook it to the side here. Now normally what you would think would happen is just these 2 frames would move, and that's definitely not the case. If I go ahead and press this, you can see both frames moved from the top, and the 2 pieces of cobble moved along with it. Now this is a great feature because it allows you to move extremely long and complex designs along, and it can actually keep moving this cobble for a very long time. So it's very cool. However, this could be a bad thing, because if I were to accidentally take the support frame and do this, as soon as I press this button right here, it's actually going to move this brick part of my wall. And as you can see, and I obviously do not want that brick to move. It's part of my wall, and I want it to stay right where it is. Alright, so obviously now you don't want items to move with your frames. So what you're going to need is you're going to need one of these diamond hand saws, and the recipe is pretty simple. It's 3 sticks, 2 iron, and 2 diamonds. Now there are other versions of these, such as sapphire, ruby, and emerald, but diamond is required for certain things. Diamond is definitely not required to make panels or covers, however, which is what I'm about to talk about. If you want to make a panel or a cover, you're going to need just your basic crafting table with whatever block you want, and these can be honestly anything. As you can see over here, you can turn wool even into panels and covers. So now what you're going to do is, if you actually right click on or left click and get your item, you get a slab. And if you once again do that slab, you get a panel. And if you take that panel and you do it again, you're going to get a cover. And so they're very cool. Panels and covers are 2 sides of the 2 sides of the same coin, different coin, I don't know, however that expression goes. And they both work on these frames here, but they both do something entirely different. And so we're going to load a frame here, and now here we're going to place a panel, and here we're going to place a cover. Now if I were to place a piece of cobblestone right here next to this panel and press the button, you'll see it moves along with it. And if I place a piece of cobblestone next to this cover and press the button, you see it does not move along with it. And so that's what the nice thing about it is. Panels do not allow items to move with them, while covers do. And this can be helpful for a few number of things. So say, for some odd reason, we wanted to push this frame through this somewhat of a hole I just constructed, like so. Now as soon as it stands like this, as soon as I press it through, first time it goes through, but now whenever I try to push it through again, you can see it actually moves that whole entire cover, or that whole entire hole. Now we wanted it to go through the hole, not with it. So if we would go ahead and take our covers right here, place it right on top, right there, and if we can get underneath here, like that. And so now we have covers on this whole front frame. And so we press this button right here, and as you can see, last time this is where the problem started to occur, and it would move this. However, now that it stands how it is, it just went entirely through it, and because of these covers. Now because of the covers, this stayed in the same place and it went through it. Now unless there's covers on each and every one of these frames though, now you'll see I press this button and it moves the whole thing. And that's because this frame right here does not have a cover on it. So I'd actually have to put covers on this whole entire or all these frames, which now encompass one object, in order for here on, or here on, not to move this. So this can be helpful if you want it to move something after a certain number, or if you don't want it to move it after a certain number. So panels and covers are pretty nice things to have. And panels and covers are not just used for frames, they can be used for various different things. Actually, if you come over here, earlier when I broke this and showed you what was underneath here to show you the timer, I actually had a cover, which are just basically a bit thinner than panels for aesthetic purposes. If you can see, if I place this on the floor, it's just barely popping out. And if I'd go ahead and take my piece of cobblestone panel, you can see it's a bit thicker. So on the floor they look a bit different in height, or they have a bit difference in height, but they can be used for aesthetic designs as well. Which is what I use them for in this room. These glass panes right here are also panels, or covers I do believe, because they're thinner. So that's the difference, and so they're not just used for frames, they can be used for design purposes as well. Now if you guys remember earlier, I actually hooked this redstone crucible setup right over here, or not redstone crucible, I always forget what these things are called. The Redstone Conduit setup. I'm new to the thermal expansion pack. But if you take the redstone energy cell, which is what we set up earlier, and we had these hobbyist steam engines running in order to generate some power. And as you can see now, that this is actually at 161,000, whereas this is full now. The magma crucible is full, the powered furnace is full, basically pulverizer, induction smelter, it's all full. And if we turn this off for a second, like so, you'll see that hopefully, yep, there we go, these will stop producing energy. And so if I were to go get some cobblestone, like so, and place it in my powered furnace right here, okay, we'll get it one of these times right here, you'll see it'll start making some smooth stone, and it will start taking away megajoules here, and it's turning those megajoules into stone. Now if I take out my omniwrench right here and click here, and now carefully watch right here, watch this blue, and if I hit it, you can see it changes now to orange, and I'm actually going to have to fix that because now it's going to try to pull power out of the liquid transposer as well. And so now if we come over here, you can see that this is now back up to almost entirely fully charged, and every time a piece of cobblestone is smelted, you can see the 2398 kind of flicker, and that is because it's pulling out that energy, and then real quickly over here this redstone energy cell is charging it, and you can see that this redstone energy cell is having power pulled out of it. Now if I flip this once again, you can see that it'll have to continue for a bit, and then it'll just stop, and that's just because there's two modes, which is powered or push power and pull power, and so right now it's pulling power. So anyway, that's just why I wanted this to hook up, and we're actually going to turn this back on. And yeah, so that's why I had that set up. I just wanted it to be able to pull power in the case that these engines run out and the coal is no longer there. It just makes it a bit cheaper. So anyway guys, I am going to wrap the episode up here today. It's about half an hour long, plenty long enough for a first episode. I believe I got a decent amount done and kind of showed you guys some stuff that I hope you thought was cool and interesting. However, before we go, I know I mentioned this and I didn't say or do anything about it. So we have once again our frame motor, and we're going to go ahead and plop it down right here. Now you can see these two blue lights right here are both extremely light. You know, they don't appear to be glowing. However, if I put some of this blue cable here, the blue alloy wire, you can see that they actually kind of started to glow, and it's really hard to notice. It's almost extremely subtle, but I promise it does glow similar to how this battery box does. So it's pretty cool. And as you can see, I did unhook that blue alloy wire when I was doing the test, and I was able to get several frame motor pulls, pushes, you know, activations out of this frame motor, and they're extremely power efficient. So just keep that in mind. So anyway guys, thanks for watching. Next episode we will do a bit bigger project, and hope you guys will enjoy it. But for now, this has been DocRedstone. Like always guys, thanks for watching. Please rate, comment, and subscribe. Thank you everybody. Peace out.